January 29th, 2014 meeting of the Environmental and Public Works Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Delahanty?
Here.
Mr. Haney?
Here.
Chairman Michike?
Here.
Mr. Rocco? Here. Mr. Tucciarello? Here. Mr. Wilcox?
Here.
Mr. Yolovich?
Here. Is there anyone signed up for a public forum?
There is not.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing none. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the December 18th, 2013 minutes of the Environmental and Public Works Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. Next item on the agenda is new business.
Referral 14-0021, authorization to enter.
Mr. Chairman. Moved by Legislator Delaney and second by Legislator Yolovich. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? None. Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0022, increase.
Moved by Legislator Yolovich, second by Legislator Tucciarello. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0024, increase and improvement of facility.
Moved by Legislator Tucciarello, second by Legislator Rocco. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0026, increase.
Second. Moved by Legislator Rocco and second by Legislator Delahanty. I hope I'm saying that right. You are. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0028, increase and improvement of facilities.
Move it, Mr. Chairman. Moved by Legislator Delahanty, second by Legislator Yolovich. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0030, increase.
Moved by Legislator Yolovich, second by Legislator Tucciarello. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0032, increase and improvement of facility.
Moved by Legislator Tucciarello and second by Legislator Rocco. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Seeing none. Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0034, increase and improvement of facilities.
Second. Moved by Legislator Rocco, second by Legislator Delahanty. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, please by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0036, increase and improvement.
Mr. Chairman. Moved by Legislator Delahanty, second by Legislator Yolovich. Any discussion? Legislator Haney.
Through the chair, I don't understand why the Rochester Pure Waters District is responsible for constructing and paying for this facility.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the majority of this project is to relocate the Rochester Operations Center that supports the Rochester Pure Waters District.
But, so you're abandoning the building next to the heat plant on Henrietta Road?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, that is the intent, that we would relocate that operations center to be operational by 2017. As you know, the operations center, which we affectionately refer to as the ROC, supports our collection and conveyance system throughout Pure Waters, primarily the Rochester Pure Waters District as well as GCO.
That building isn't that old, is it? It's only 15, 20 years old or something?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, it was constructed in 1985.
When?
1985.
85, 95, all right. So it's about 28 years old, 29 years old. But doesn't, through the chair, doesn't isn't that the headquarters for all the Pure Waters districts?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, there is support provided for conveyance systems, pump stations throughout the 4 districts. So we would apportion a share of their cost to the other Pure Waters districts.
The Rochester Pure Waters District owns the current building, right?
Through Mr. Chairman, I beg your pardon?
The Rochester Pure Waters District owns that building now, right? They bought it from the county a couple of years ago. Well, I guess it's 8 or 10 years now.
Through Mr. Chairman, yes, that is owned by the Rochester Pure Waters District.
Well, the Gates-Chili-Ogden district is basically similar to the city district in that the county operates the collection system and everything else. I assume that's going to function out of that building.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, that is correct as it does now. The local collection system that we operate and maintain is primarily in the city district as well as GCO. So the support that we provide for those 2 districts comes from the ROC currently and will continue to do so. We believe, though, there's advantages with being co-located at Fleet as we've moved other operations there. There's just a synergistic relationship with other activities going on at the Fleet and its proximity to the Scottsville Road fueling station. We would fund this project in this manner. The first year would be through cash capital, and then we would assign appropriate share to anyone benefiting from the project and improvements that we're making at the Fleet Center.
So through the chair, the other districts are going to be paying a fee to the city Pure Waters District for the use of the facility?
We would, again, through you, Mr. Chairman, if there is a benefit provided, which there is currently through the ROC, it would pay a share of that based on, again, an apportionment. Majority, though, of the support that's provided through the ROC is for Rochester Pure Waters and GCO.
Through the chair, how is the cost, like this is $1,900,000 that the city district is going to invest in this. How do we determine the portion that the city district will get reimbursed from the other districts?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, we would really assess the assets primarily between Rochester and GCO. We look at work orders. We look at the amount of time that we're spending in those particular districts. A very small percentage is in the Northwest and Roanoke Bay districts because that's primarily conveyance, most of which is gravity. There are some pump stations there that we support. But again, the vast majority of that work is between Rochester and GCO, and we would look at work orders and the amount of time that we're spending in there to come up with an equitable share between the 2 districts.
Through the chair, has any consulting firm or audit firm or anybody ever reviewed the way the costs are allocated, and not just here, but the bigger body of costs are at Van Laer. Has any consulting firm or auditing firm ever reviewed the way the costs are allocated?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, not to my knowledge. Again, this is a question that comes up every year through the budget process.
Right.
Relative to flows that are treated, work that's performed, and assigning equitable shares accordingly.
the concern, Mr. Chairman, is, and maybe it borders on paranoia, but we all know that the city Pure Waters District has lots of money. It's got millions of dollars worth of cash. The other districts do not. They're basically break even. There'd be a terrible temptation to load costs into the city district because that's where the money is. How do we, and as I say, maybe my concern borders on paranoia, but shouldn't we have a consultant review this or something just to satisfy everybody that the cost apportionment is fair and appropriate?
Mr. Chairman, our current audit contractor, KPMG, as part of its annual audit of the county's financial records, does look at the individual departments making up the county and also the 4 Pure Waters districts. They do not necessarily audit every transaction within Pure Waters, but it is part of their overall audit plan. So to the extent that their testing of both financial transactions and internal audit controls or transactional controls exist, that would be part of their program. So I guess I'm trying to say there has not been a specific consulting engagement designed specifically for cost allocation methodologies, but the county is covered as part of its annual audit process in this respect.
Through the chair, has KPMG ever actually looked at the cost allocation formulas in between the districts and Pure Waters?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. He just answered it. He said no, they haven't.
I got to sustain that. Do you have any other questions, Legislator Haney?
Well, I think the answer from the Director of Finance was that it's part of the county audit, but that doesn't answer my question of whether they've ever actually looked at the cost allocation formulas. I'd like to know whether they've ever actually looked at the cost allocation formulas.
Mr. Chairman, regretfully, but because of my newness in this position, having been here just 1 year and gone through 1 audit, I will have to ask the other staff within the finance department if this has come up in previous audits and get back to the committee.
Thank you. I'd appreciate getting an answer to that before the legislature meeting. And if the answer is in the negative, I think we ought to think about either asking them to in fact look at the cost allocation formulas, or perhaps I mean, the county has myriad consultants involved in Pure Waters projects, having one of them look at the cost allocation.
Any further discussions? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0038.
Moved by Legislator Yolovich, second by Legislator Tucciarello. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0040, increase and improvement.
Moved by Legislator Tucciarello, second by Legislator Rocco. Any discussion? Legislator Haney.
Mr. Chairman, are we also amending the CIP with this one? All the other ones before it, I don't think did, but or maybe, well, let's see. Yeah, it says amend the 214-19 CIP.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, this project and the one that follows it are 2 projects that have not appeared in the CIP but they're being funded by cash capital. So it requires us to amend the CIP to include the program so that we can amend the capital budget and then appropriate the funding accordingly from the operating budget.
Through the chair, why weren't they included in the CIP?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, we have projects that we perform under general improvements, which we have been funding with cash capital. This particular project is of a scale that we have identified it as a separate project. The one that follows it is general improvements, which we have funded over the past few years through cash capital.
Well, between the two of them, through the chair, we're talking about $3,500,000. $1.2 million here and $2.3 million on item 42. I mean, that's larger than a lot of other items in the CIP. And I certainly applaud the fact that they're being done with cash capital, since the city district has accumulated so much cash. But I think I would hope in the future, as we do more of this cash capital, that we would, in the past, we've excluded things in the CIP simply because they were going to be funded with cash capital. I think that's inappropriate, and I would hope that in the future that where we have projects of significant size like this, that we would include them in the CIP. The fact that they're cash capital doesn't in any way bar them from being part of the CIP. The CIP should lay out all of our capital projects. And I think it's a flaw in our CIP process that we don't include all the major projects, namely these two, for example. I would hope in the future that we'd include these things in the CIP.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 14-0042, increase and improvement of facilities.
Second.
Moved by legislator Rocco, second by legislator Delahaney. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? Seeing none. There being no other matters, the January 29th, 2014 meeting of the Environmental and Public Works Committee stands adjourned. Next meeting will be February 26, 2014 at 5 p.m.